JD Vance has denied saying the UK had not fought a war in 30 years after his comments sparked outrage from veterans and politicians. Donald Trump's vice president branded reaction to his remarks as absurdly dishonest and insisted he was not referring to Britain. Vance sparked fury across the political spectrum after he dismissed countries offering boots-on-the-ground support to Ukraine. He told Fox News, "If you want real security guarantees, if you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years. Britain and France are the only countries to have committed to sending troops to Ukraine as part of a peacekeeping force." His comments were seen by some as diminishing the role of UK troops, with some 636 dying fighting alongside the United States in Iraq and Afghanistan. Vance later took to X to clarify his comments. He wrote, "I don't even mention the UK or France in the clip, both of whom have fought bravely alongside the US over the last 20 years and beyond. But let's be direct. There are many countries who are volunteering, privately or publicly, support who have neither the battlefield experience nor the military equipment to do anything meaningful." If not the UK or France, it is unclear which nations he was referring to in the interview. Downing Street this afternoon also appeared to rebuke the vice president with a robust defense of British troops' record in combat. Asked about the comments, the PM's spokesman said, "The Prime Minister, and I think this whole country is full of admiration for British troops who served, for instance, in Iraq and Afghanistan, many of whom have lost their lives in the process, and obviously alongside allies, including the United States. It's very clear that their courage and bravery has helped to ensure global security, defend our values, our national interests, and our focus, once again, is on how we protect our national interests and global security by progressing the discussions to secure lasting peace for Ukraine." Mr. Vance made the remarks while pressing Volodymyr Zelensky to sign a minerals deal following their extraordinary dust-up in the Oval Office last week. He also appeared to dismiss Sir Keir's pledge to station peacekeeping troops in Ukraine following any ceasefire deal with Russia. Politicians of all stripes rounded on the remarks alongside several former high-ranking soldiers. Nigel Farage, Reform UK leader and MP for Clacton, said, "For 20 years in Afghanistan, pro rata our size against America's, we spent the same amount of money. We put the same number of men and women in. We suffered the same losses. We stood by America all through those 20 years, putting in exactly the same contribution. And all right, they may be 6 times bigger, but we did our bit. So, on this one, GD is wrong." Former Veterans Minister Johnny Mercer, who served as a commando in Afghanistan, said Vance needs to wind his neck in. He added, "Show a bit of respect and stop making yourself look so unpleasant." Shadow Defense Secretary James Cartledge rebuked Mr. Vance for being deeply disrespectful for ignoring such service and sacrifice of British troops. Ex-Armed Forces Minister and veteran James Heaby hit back at Mr. Vance's sad interpretation of history. He said, "Serving with America and France were defining moments of my military career. Sad to hear the relationship reduced to this." SAS legend Andy McNabb, who fought in the first Gulf War, said, "He needs to read the names of the dead who have fought and shed blood alongside U.S. troops." Ex-Army Chief General Sir Patrick Sanders said, "I fought alongside the U.S. in Iraq and Afghanistan over almost 2 decades, so I obviously don't agree with Vance's remarks." Former First Sea Lord Admiral Lord West slammed Mr. Vance's comments as utterly disgraceful. The ex-Navy chief and security minister said, "We lost over 450 men and women, plus 3,000 very badly injured when we went into Afghanistan post 9/11 with America as its allies. NATO had invoked Article 5. It is utterly disgraceful that Vance ignores that and says such things. He is a ghastly man, I am afraid." Vance served 4 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, including a short 6-month tour as public affairs soldier. Sir Keir has called on European allies to form a coalition of the willing to keep the peace in Ukraine if a deal is reached. Ms. Trump today halted all U.S. military aid to Ukraine for the foreseeable future. The U.S. has now paused aid to the war-torn country until Zelensky's government shows a commitment to peace negotiations, a senior Trump administration official told Fox News. The official said, "This is not permanent termination of aid, it's a pause."